Welcome to my today's class, my dear students. Today I have chosen the topic Patterns of Development, one chapter in developmental biology. I am Dr. Meera Beke, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Zoology, Maharani Science College for Women, Palace Road, Bangalore 1. As usual, you can see my cell phone number, so also email ID on this first slide. After the class, for any clarifications, do contact me. Now, let us begin the class. There are three types of developmental patterns seen in animals. They are called number 1, oviparity, number 2, viviparity, and a transition 1, number 3, ovoviviparity. I am going to brief about all the three, and at the end of the talk, I am going to give a comparative account of all the three. Now, coming to oviparity, animals which lay the eggs and in which most of the embryological development of the fertilized egg occurs outside the body of the mother are called oviparous animals, and this type of development is called oviparity. Example, Amphioxus, frog, chick, etc. To put it in a nutshell, oviparity means egg-laying animals. Then the second type of development is viviparity, where the eggs are internally fertilized and they are not laid, as you see in case of oviparity, but they are retained in a specialized part of the oviduct called uterus, where the development takes place. The developing embryo often establishes a direct connection with the uterine endometrium, in other words, with the mother, and draws its nutritional, respiratory, excretory, and metabolic requirements from the maternal body. To serve the purpose, a temporary structure called placenta is developed that establishes a physiological connection between the mother and the young one till the time of delivery. In this slide, I have just given a comparative view where viviparous animals are those which give birth to young ones, and the young ones suckle the mother after they come out. Whereas in case of viviparous animals, they lay the eggs and incubate. The viviparity is an adaptation to the adverse environmental conditions such as cold, dryness, and seasonal changes. So, this pattern of development is called viviparity, and the animals are called viviparous animals. To put in a nutshell, viviparous animals are those which give birth to the young ones directly. All placental mammals, some elasmobranch fishes, some teleost fishes, and reptiles belong to this category. Then, ovoviviparity. It is a reproductive condition of the egg-laying animals in which the eggs develop inside the maternal body and are not supplied with the internal nourishment. Best example is sharks, rays, insects, etc. To put it in a humorous way, this is a situation where the mother provides lodging but not the boarding. This is a case of ovoviviparity where you can see the eggs which are present inside the body of the mother receive their nourishment from the yolk, but placenta is not developed. Mother in no way provides nutritional requirements. This slide tells you a comparative version of oviparity versus viviparity. See, oviparous animals refer to the animals that produce eggs and which mature and hatch after being expelled from the body, in other words, laid from the body. On the other hand, viviparous animals refer to the animals that give birth to the developed live young individuals. Then second point, oviparous animals lay either fertilized or unfertilized eggs, whereas in viviparous animals, they give birth to the young ones directly. Then, in oviparous animals, you can see either internal fertilization or external fertilization depending upon the species concerned, whereas in viviparous animals, internal fertilization is a rule. By default, fertilization has to be internal. Then fourth point of comparison being the development of the zygote occurs outside the body of the female parent, whereas in viviparous animals, the development of the zygote occurs inside the body of the female. Then in viviparous animals, the embryo receives nutrients from the reserved food material, that is the yolk. Whereas in viviparous animals, the embryo receives nutrients from the mother via placenta. Then, coming to the chances of survival, the chances of survival are less in case of oviparous animals in contrast to viviparous animals where the chances of survival are comparatively more. Oviparous animals are exemplified by birds, reptiles, amphibians, most fishes, insects, etc. Whereas viviparous animals include mostly mammals. Then this is a slide where I have given comparative account of oviparity, ovoviviparity and viviparity. As I was telling you, oviparity is the trait of laying the eggs. Viviparity is giving birth to the young ones directly, whereas ovoviviparity is laying of eggs and keeping them inside the mother's body till they are hatched without supplying any nutritional requirements. Then birds, insects, reptiles, amphibians and fishes show oviparity. Some reptiles and amphibians show ovoviviparity, and some reptiles, fishes, amphibians and mammals exhibit viviparity. So, reptiles come under all the three categories. Some reptiles are oviparous, some reptiles are ovoviviparous, and some reptiles are viviparous. This is a point to be noted. So, what is the case in which reptile is left to the concerned individual species? One has to refer and tell. Then, let us see the type of fertilization. It can be either internal or external in oviparous animals. By rule, it is internal fertilization in ovoviviparous animals, so also in viviparous animals. Coming to the concept of laying the eggs, yes, in case of oviparity, Yes in case of ovoviviparity, no in case of viviparity. The eggs are produced and retained inside the body in case of ovoviviparity, not to be confused. Then, nutrients to the developing embryo, the source. In oviparous animals, the young ones draw their energy requirements from the reserve food material yolk. So also in ovoviviparous animals, whereas in viviparous animals, they draw their requirements from the maternal parent through the physiological connection called placenta. Then placental connection. As such, there is no placenta formation in oviparous and ovoviviparous animals. So no question of connection at all. Whereas in viviparous animals, embryo is connected to the placenta through a structure called umbilical cord. Then the embryo development, where it takes place, it is outside the mother's body in oviparity, inside the mother's body in ovoviviparity, inside the mother's body in viviparity. So this table briefs you all aspects concerned with oviparity, ovoviviparity and viviparity. Thank you for patient listening. Stay blessed. Thanks.